You've tuned in to the Heart to Heart. You're now tuned in. What are you tuned into? Right, I've got it. You've tuned in to the Heart to Heart podcast with myself, Andy, and Mouse, diving into behind the scenes of a creative mind, from the highs to the lows and the trials and tribulations that they face on a day-to-day basis. So sit back, enjoy, as the episode's about to begin. But please note, there is explicit content within.
Mas Vandal, how we doing?
Hi. Good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah, all good.
So,
good to see you again.
Yeah, man, it is. Yeah, so been with you on the road page for a while now. So it's good to properly get this done. Now we've got the podcast series out and rolling. Only right that we got you on.
Yeah, no, I'm dead excited for that. You're going to have a lot of good artists on here, I think, as well. So
yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's been good so far. It's been a real eye opener, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
It's good to connect with like minds, isn't it?
So what we thought we'd do is we've been doing an uncomfortable round. We thought we'd switch that up a little bit for you today. So we're going to go for a would you rather round.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I like it.
Snappy answers on this one. First thing that comes to your head. Lose your pen in hand or £1 million?
£1 million.
Cool. Would you be the new face of the Pringles can to get your work in the Louvre in Paris?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be wicked, wouldn't
it? To be fair, it's pretty good on both sides, isn't it? Right, okay. Keeping with the tash one, would you shave your tash for good or lose your hair for good?
Oh, I'd lose the hair, man. I'd take that off. I want to get my head tattooed anyway, so that's coming off soon anyway.
Cool, and here's the most important one, right? So you're going to have to work it out here. Who would you rather fight, 3 of me or 1 of Andy?
Andy's just said he's come back from boxing training, so and I know that you're smoking, so I'm going with 3 of you.
To be fair, I'd have gone with 3 of me all day long.
Just because I know that Andy's come back from boxing training, he might be tired now, but if I catch him, I'm losing that fight.
I'm gentle, really. I get beaten up every time I go, really.
That's what he says. That's what he says. He just wants to fight, really.
Yeah.
So, kind of just like sort of bringing it back then. So, tell us about Mas Vandal. Where did it all start?
I guess growing up, I'd always been that creative kind of person. I was always drawing on stuff, but really for me, I didn't really take art as serious as I am now until lockdown. I had a back injury, which didn't really give me much choice. I couldn't move. I couldn't do a lot. So naturally, that creativity started coming back, and it just never went. It literally just spiraled and spiraled.
So what were you doing at the time when you got your back injury?
I was doing ground maintenance, which I say ground maintenance. It was a bit of everything, and I got 2 slip discs during that job, which brilliant. It's dead handy to have. No,
I've said this before. It is unbelievably painful.
Yeah, it hurts to sneeze. But no, I mean now I'm a lot better. I'm still a bit slower than I was, but I can still paint.
So did you find that were a bit of a kind of? Did you take it as a setback? Is what I'm trying to get at, the back injury, or did you sort of see it as a new lease of life?
You know what? At first, I saw it as a setback. I really did. The whole life just sort of changed at an instant. I couldn't do my job that I was doing. I couldn't really do much. So at first I did see it as quite a major setback, but it took me quite a while to realise that it was actually a good thing. I mean, all right, not having the back injury, but that allowed me to have the time to be creative, to really do what I believed that I was put here to do, paint and make all kinds of weird, wonderful shit. So it's nice, you know. It's still got a long way to go yet, but
so
I'd say the silver linings go.
This is
not
it,
a bad
man.
one.
So from the back injury, where did you find yourself? What was your sort of new career opportunities on the horizon?
Well, when I was first, you know, coming to the realization that I'm not going to be doing what I'd done for a few years, I got into tattooing. I had some like-minded acquaintances that were doing it. I got into that. That was good fun. That was very fun, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I love tattooing. I love that whole side of stuff. I still do now, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. It sort of naturally coincided with, it was sort of, the more I would create the tattoo images, I would find myself delving deeper into different styles, which would then create different pieces of work. And I find myself doing more graffiti, more of that kind of style, which no one really wanted on their skin. And it, so I was like, well.
So have you got a background in graffiti prior to tattooing?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, growing up I'm from a place called Witham in Essex. Not a great deal to do around here. Me and a couple of friends that, you know, at the ages of 15 through, you know, whatever years, we'd go and paint. We'd go and paint the train tunnels. We'd go and paint walls and do the stuff which, to be fair, would get us into trouble. Which is where my name Vandal came from.
Yeah.
It started as, I guess, boredom, mindless acts of vandalism, and now it's turned into wholeheartedly all about the art, you know, about the passion in the art, and it's showing that.
I've had this argument before, you know, on a community group about about whether or not vandalism is sort of a path to fine art, and obviously
it's a gateway drug.
This is it. I said from my side of the argument was, if I hadn't been out vandalising little green phone boxes and stuff, I probably would have never picked up a paintbrush. What's your thoughts on that?
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I remember being in art class in the school I was in, and there was books of graffiti on the 80s, you know, how it all started. And these whole books were vandalism, you know, that wasn't, you know, and we're learning about it, but if we was to go out, then it's bad. But it's like, well, I want some of that. I wanted to try that. I wanted to get that rush. And anyone that's picked up a can and gone and done that, as soon as you do it, you get that rush, you get that adrenaline. You feel alive, you feel good, you know, and it's sort of bringing that element into an everyday life, in everyday styles that I do. And it's just all about enjoying myself, man.
This is it, man. So
I feel very fortunate.
Just on that side of things, clearly in quite a good place at the moment. From what I've heard, it's not always been quite that easy, has it? Would you mind sort of telling us a bit about it?
Yeah, no, of course. I lost a very close friend of mine to suicide, which totally rocked all of us. Yeah, a big friend group. He was a good friend. You know, he loved the art, and you know that really did hit everybody hard. It opens your eyes as well, you know, to how people are feeling. And then we had lockdown, which was unfathomably hard for all of us. Everybody lost, countless people.
Was this all going on at the same time?
This happened prior to lockdown, so we had that, and then sort of there was a few years of absolute shit show. Don't get me wrong, for the nation, for the world, for everybody. But I was very close to a woman during the time I'd met, actually during tattooing. And during the second half of lockdown, I found out that she took her own life. That was after me trying to get hold of her for a few days. I actually found out about it on Facebook. So that was difficult. That was I was in the tattoo studio at the time, so I remember that. But that's I don't remember a lot after, before, on that, but you remember the exact point. What he was doing. So yeah, that was hard. I think for anyone that has lost someone, and especially nowadays, I think you can turn to anyone on your left or your right and they've lost someone due to suicide. So I think it's an important thing to talk about because it can happen to anybody. But what I was going to say is you are left with questions that you may never get answers to. But there's no rule book on how to deal with that stuff. You deal with it however you deal with it. But there does come a point where you can remember them, talk about them, and not be sad and distraught, crying. You can remember who they are. The happiness, the smiles and stuff. She was also another person that really did help me push in my art. She really did. She took such an interest in tattoo. I tattooed her quite a few times, and I think often enough that not just her, that for a lot of other people during the tattooing, it becomes a therapy session as well. Yourself, you're covered in work. When you're sitting in the chair, you may have that feeling of, God, why the fuck am I here? But you also do get that relaxation, and you do.
100%.
You end up talking on life with the artists, and
and that's kind of how me and this lady met. So yeah, I think it's important to talk about because it can happen to anybody, but it's finding a way to cope, a healthy way to cope.
So yeah. On that note, obviously we know that you've brought yourself out of your dark patch with your art. In the sort of preceding days from all of this kicking off, or months, how did you deal with it to start with, though, before you could focus your brain? In all honesty, like that textbook sort of, I didn't want to get out of bed, the people I was working with at the time, they were good, you don't have to come in, but I chose to. I wanted to be around people. I wanted to do that, and I think during that sort of situation, it goes one way or the other. Some people can go into a bit of a pit, and they don't want to be around people. They don't want to see the happiness of other people. But I don't know. I guess I couldn't tell you why I did, but I just threw myself into the crowd, into the people, and spoke about it. And for me, that seemed to help.
I've always been one of these people that tend to hold in shit, pent up, and then eventually you end up having a bad day and it turns into a bad week, and then you're an arsehole. You know what I mean? And I found myself slowly becoming that person, and decided I didn't want to be that person. So if you was to look at a lot of my art from when I first started, it was black. It was just black ink. There was no colour to it. And then eventually the colour crept in, and it was, I don't know, I guess in my subconscious, my way of expressing, getting over stuff. I didn't particularly feel good inside, so trying to create work that made others feel good.
So
when
the colour crept in, that was almost you subconsciously wanting to bring a bit of joy back into the world.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, had you have asked me, I'd probably have said, no, it's just, I'm bored, I'm just doing something. But now, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people probably could relate to that as well. I think more people should be in touch with how they feel, men especially, in this day and age. But I can honestly say that was that creeping in, that was that, that bursting to come out. And now if you was to look at my work now, it's completely the difference is night and day, it's, I want you to stop and feel good. And I'll be honest with you, like when I was going through the bad, everyone I walked past, I wanted them to feel as bad as I did. That's the truth.
It's like a reflection, like reflecting a bit of your pain on someone else, to say, look, this is how I feel.
And it's sort of, I guess, knowing that others felt as bad as I did, you didn't feel alone. But now it's the difference to that is night and day. It's, I can see the joy, the excitement my work brings to people, be it painting publicly, speaking to people about life, anything. It helps me, it gives me such a nice feeling. And if one person can take away, I don't know, just even a fucking smile, you know what I mean? Yeah. Job done. That's the best.
Leading off the back of that then, this is something us three have spoken about before, so I do kind of know the answer to this, but I think it's quite important that it's put out there. You're not ashamed of your black work, are you? Your sort of darker work.
I embrace it
now.
I embrace it. Embrace all sides. That everyone's got that depressive side, that sad side. It's part of your journey. Now, the hardest part of a journey, which I found personally, is you're constantly waiting for the end, the reward. There isn't one. It doesn't exist. The reward's the journey. You've got to enjoy every single fucking part of it. Those bad bits, if they weren't there, then
how could you know the good bits were there?
Yeah. I mean, I think life has a way of pulling new positives out of new darkness, you know what I mean? Like you go through the worst possible things that you can ever think of, and you scrape by, but you manage to come out of it. And I think if you're lucky enough to be able to come out of it, then I think you have sort of a job to help others, to say, look, it's shit, but it won't always be, and trust me, you'll see it, and I think I'm living proof in a way. There's people out there that have had million times worse than what I've ever could imagine. I'm just speaking of my personal experiences, but it's, yeah, talking about them, the good, the bad, all of it is, yeah, I embrace it.
So
Yeah.
you said then that there's not always rewards. I'm going to have to touch on it. There's been a few for you recently, haven't there?
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah.
2022 was a big year for you. Do you want to touch on a few of your favourite achievements, and then we'll delve in a bit deeper into a few?
Yeah, I mean, 2022. Like I said, there are rewards, but I guess what I mean by it is you're never going to sit there and go, I can put my feet up now. I've dusted, I take me out, I'm all good. You're always learning, is the journey. And I think being able to learn and constantly meet different people such as yourselves is the reward.
That wrong. I think what I meant was more,
but I know
opportunities rather than the rewards that have come to you.
Yeah, of the opportunity, like I was consistently putting out work, and I've got Chelmsford City, which is fairly local to me. They put on a graffiti festival, a festival of the arts, a street art festival called Concrete Canvas. Now, I got involved in that, doing a few bits. I painted there was a bollard, and I painted one of them live. That was, it was very good. That was the first. That was the first real legal painting I'd done where I wasn't sort of looking for police, So that was good, people taking some photos, it was fun. That led on to me having the opportunity to meet a few artists that I'd actually grown up enjoying, such as London Police and some others. I got to meet some great artists such as Troika, that if you've not seen their work, check out. It's phenomenally good. But I got to meet London Police now as a young lad. I remember seeing their work. They're from Chelmsford. I remember seeing their work as a kid. Fuck, that's cool. I like that. And in my head, I've still got this image. I could probably draw it. It's still there like a sticker on my brain. And I sent it to them, and it just so happened that they chose, I think it was 5 or 6 of the local artists involved to have a print out with them, so that not so much a collab, but it was a print under their name, and they'd do it. And I was very fortunate to do it. There's the old Snow White, and that's the print I've done with them. I've got to, fangirl over them a little bit, I don't mean, but they're generally nice guys. And then I had an exhibition in Colorado, which
that's mental.
that was very surreal for me, and that was purely through consistency of work and meeting online, talking to artists from across the waters through art groups, and art opens so many doors. It's impossible to tell you where I've met everybody, but I got to show work with some of, in my opinion, the best artists out there. There was Banksy, you had Keith Haring, D-Face.
What, they were in this were in the lineup of the exhibition then?
Yeah, so my work, you're going along the walls, and you got this, and you go on to my work, and it's like, fucking hell, okay. That was my, and yeah.
But for those who don't know, Keith Haring's just sold for multiple millions of pounds in Art Basel, Miami. I think one of the pieces fetched nearly $3 million.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved Haring. I mean, I've got another exhibition coming up, and It's in the same place in Colorado. So I'm showing with D-Face, Banksy. We've got Warhol there. I believe. Bear with me. I've actually got it on my phone, and I'll read some of the names because
that's crackers. It's absolutely mental.
What was it? It's just the.
Is it under the same people who did the previous exhibition, or is it different?
Yeah, this one is called Bold. So we've got Rich Hall, Matt O'Neill, and Jeff Gillette, and myself, which are headlining it. So there is 4. We've got Banksy, Denial, Cause, Obey, Warhol, Herring, Mr. Clever, Peachtree. You've got a lot there.
Mental.
So it's like fuck.
You need to give yourself a massive pat on the back for that, bro. Massive pat on the back. That is.
It puts you in that next level, doesn't it? I mean, showcasing next to some of the biggest names, it kind of really puts you at that next level, doesn't it?
It does. It's such a feeling, because you've got these names that well, in my case, I'm 32. I've grown up with these names. You know, some of these names have got me into. You know, I had them on my wall growing up. So having the chance to even have my name on the same piece of paper as these guys is phenomenal. You know, so to have some work on show with work that these guys have done, I mean, I couldn't honestly feel luckier. But that could happen to any other artist, anyone. It's just through consistency. You've got to keep putting that work out there, and experimenting. Get out of your safe zone. Get them boundaries and fuck with them a little bit. See what you can do.
Just on a quick tangent. Describe your art to anyone that's listening and that hasn't seen it. Your current style is wild, and I absolutely love it. But for anyone that can't see this right now, give us a description of what sort of stuff you paint.
So I use a lot of stencil based stuff. So you get this very simplistic, black and white stencil. I've been doing a lot of animals, which got me getting into this style. But I'd also add an explosion of colour. So like ADHD in art form, it's an ordered chaos of colour. And to be fair, it just makes you stop and look. I mean, you'll look at it and you may see something different every time you see it. Expressionism.
The scale of your pieces has varied quite a lot, hasn't there? Like, I think they've gone from like sort of A4 to, is it about 10 foot? Is it some of the big pieces?
Yeah, I mean, I started on the old, safe zone, A4 bits and smaller bits. And I think it's important. You learn your skill, and then you can get bigger and bigger. And I was fortunate enough to paint some murals in Chelmsford City, which I mentioned earlier, and that was the style of these animals. So this explosion of colour. So we had a rhino, and the horn was all coloured, and then you had a flamingo and all this bright stuff. And they were the biggest stencils that I've done to date. The rhino, I think I don't know if it's 10 foot, it was close to 7, maybe 8 or something like that. It was a big boy.
7 or 8 feet.
Yeah, wow. I needed some scaffolding to get it. Was a lot bigger than I was, I had a picture where I was laying down and I looked quite small. I'm 6'2", I think.
Give us a quick rundown, as sort of concisely as you can, for anyone that does A4 stencils at the moment but wanting to move into bigger and bolder ones. How do you do a big stencil?
Well, the best way that I've found, and I've done multiple ways, you can do grids, and you can do a small, A4 and you can grid it and you can freehand that. But that's ball ache. It is ball ache. If you can do it, brilliant. You're going to get the I can do that. Excellent. I've moved over to drawing the image exactly how I want it at a smaller scale. And now for something, if I was to do 10 foot or something, I've got a handy little, I can't remember what it's called, I think it's called a brawn or something. It's from some 90s thing. But it's a projector that you can just put paper in. You don't have to put the acetate stuff in. And it projects, it gets really fucking hot. But it's a lifesaver for doing stuff like that. It really is. But then you've got if you're doing a 10-foot stencil, you need a 10-foot wall.
Yeah.
So, you'll never ever have enough space. So anyone listening that's going, oh, I can't, when I've got a bigger space, it'll be eaten. No, it won't. You'll fill that space. You'll fill it in a week. You could have a warehouse and you'll fill it in a week and you'll still have the same thing. You always need more space.
That's an important point to make. Don't wait around. I couldn't wait for a studio, so I used my living room.
No.
And
no, yeah. I mean, I'm in like a living room studio.
This is it.
You're
in a basement studio, aren't you, Andy?
Yeah.
This is it. Don't wait for life to come for you.
No. Force it. Jesus. Life only makes sense if you fucking force it to. So force it and have fun with it. Get your work out there. Make people see it. If you don't like your work, don't throw it away. Upload it. Learn from it. Always show your work. Always create. If you find yourself getting sick of it, every one of us has gone off. Fucking not today. I can't be asked with it. Just have a smoke, have a nap.
So after my little tangent, just thought I'd ask you about the sort of last opportunity I wanted to touch on. You've been featured in a book.
Yeah, I was featured in a book called The Thing About Artists, and that was very cool. I mean, that was by Brennan and Birch. They're someone to check out as well. They a lot of artists. They do a lot of art themselves, who are also involved in the concrete canvas, which I mentioned earlier. Now that was extremely fun. There's names in the book that, again, I was big fans of. So to being that was for me very surreal. I did a video the other day
about, really, if you don't mind me asking.
Now I believe it's the top 40. There could be more graffiti artists and stuff. Essex and London, I believe it is. I think that's the number. I'm pretty sure there could be more. There's I mean, I've looked at it multiple times, and my page is not one I look at. The art in there is phenomenal.
Be so proud of that, though, bro. That's mental.
100%. It's. I just love seeing everyone else's work. And if you ever see the book, pick it up. I'm also.
Is it out? Is it released?
It is. Yeah, I believe it's available from Brennan and Birch there on their Instagram and stuff as well. I'll send you the guys' links. I'll put the links in there for that as well. I'm also lucky enough to be involved in this year's Background Bob project, which I'm very excited about. There's a lot of other artists involved in that.
One of them's sat right up here.
Oh yes, and it's just such. I think such an amazing thing to be a part of, because that itself brings communities of artists together for one of the best causes. great people as well.
Massive
really
shout out to Background Bob. He's been a big supporter of the Rogue
Yeah.
Gallery project from the start as well.
Lovely people. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to be part of that.
No, that's.
But yeah, I've also got a lot more to come as well. So a lot more to come.
You've kind of touched on it then. My next question was 2023. What do we expect from Maz?
We've got the Bold exhibit, which I touched on earlier. So that's coming up, I believe, next month, beginning of next month. Now there's going to be another Concrete Canvas Festival, I believe, this year in Chelmsford City, which I'm hoping to be involved in. But during that, there's going to be some more bigger scale murals, a lot more bigger scale canvas works. I'm sort of addicted to doing the bigger stuff now. So a hell of a lot of that. I mean, I've got plans to approach some high-end galleries. And so yeah, no, that it should. Hopefully, it works.
And just to throw it out there, maybe one
Spoiler.
more opportunity for you. We're take this opportunity to invite you to the Rogue Gallery Project exhibition in April.
Fucking brilliant! Yeah, I'm there. I'm deaf. Yeah, I'm down. That's fucking cracking, boy. That's amazing.
More
Brilliant.
details will be coming about that very shortly, but can't really say much more for now. But yeah,
no, the secret is the best part of it. You've got to be mysterious. No, but that's awesome. Let me know details, and yeah,
definitely, this is great.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
how we like to kind of tail these podcasts off is what advice would you give young Vandal, 15-year-old Vandal that's spray painting the train tracks?
Do it in the summer and stop painting in the winter because it's cold. But carry on. I went through a very dark period of. I just felt like a loser for a long time in my life, that I was doing jobs I didn't have any interest in. Consistency, there's a saying, it's practice makes perfect, and it doesn't. Practice makes progression, Keep at it, remember that, and just keep fucking going. Like, you've got Sunak saying, oh, you have to do mathematics till you're 18. Well, maybe we should do arts and stuff till we're 18, mate, all this stuff. This is all important, the arts. Without the arts, the world would be a very grey, depressing place. So,
very true.
Just keep at it, basically.
And again, you keep leading me on to my next points. So what with all of the negativity being faced at the youths at the moment, any up and coming artists, what advice would you give to them? Obviously, you've had some wonderful opportunities this year. What advice can you give to them?
Basically, consistency, and that's what I tell everybody. Is consistency is the key to it. With this art, with your styles and stuff, opportunity can and will come out of absolutely nowhere. To the point where it can be quite give you anxiety, it can be quite scary. Go for it. It will arise, but keep doing it, because if you stop now, you're never going to happen. Any artist, anybody in the whole world that's either got their own company or is lucky enough to do a job that they enjoy off their own back, they will tell you they had times they wanted to quit. And it's usually at the time where you want to quit, something good's about to happen. So keep fucking on it. Some people go, oh, I wish I did it sooner. You didn't. Carry on. Get on with it. Just do it. Consistency is always key. And you're always going to be your own critic. You're going to be your worst critic on everything you do. Everything you do, there's going to be something in the back. I could have done that better. They're better. Don't worry about that. Fuck that off.
We
Continue and do what you do.
The times when you get in, to the point where you can't deal with it anymore, is when your best work's about to appear.
It is. It really, really is. You're gonna have sleepless nights where you're up, drawing, creating, do it. It's part of it. I wish everybody luck who's doing that, and I hope everyone does well. That's the best thing. But for this year, I'd like to meet a hell of a lot more artists. I think being an artist, but you can also get quite lost in your work, and you become almost a bit of a hermit sometimes. So it's like, meeting people, doing, like I said, the podcast of you guys and what you guys are doing is it helps do that as well. It helps promote that and get all these like minds together, and it's so fucking important. It really is. So thank you for doing it, and thank you for inviting me onto it.
Thank you for being here. So let's just sort of end this here. Where can we find you on socials?
Now I'm on TikTok now. I've converted over. It's loud and it's dancey. It's weird, but I'm on there as Mas Vandal, or you'll find me as Mas Vandal on Instagram and TikTok. Facebook is Sam Maslanka, but you might as well just go to the other ones. I upload the same. If you've got one, you'll see them all anyway. So go and have a look.
Absolute pleasure to have you on, bro.
It's been brilliant, man.
Good.
It's been good to talk to you. Good to talk to you both.
Can I just, before we do end this, I just want to kind of apologise for not being as vocal. You can get a little violin out now. I'd a bit of lurgy this week at the back end of it. Did the stupid thing by going to do training like you mentioned earlier and stuff. And to be honest with you, I feel like I've been in a fucking car crash. So that's why I've been quiet. Taking the lead, mate. But yeah, I'm fucking done in. But it's been enjoyable, I've got to admit, to sit back and actually listen.
I think that
it's been good.
That must be quite good to do sometimes, and not talk. Just sit back and listen.
Enjoy, man.
Like people watching. We've all done it.
Oh,
it's just fun, isn't it? Excellent, boys.
Thanks very much, bro. Been an absolute pleasure. And sure, this isn't the last you're going to see of us, Fruit Rogue and Mas Vandal.
All right, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for having me on, guys.
So that's it for now from myself and Mouse. Any updates for future episodes, make sure you rate and follow on Spotify or like and subscribe on YouTube. Also, you can find us on his Insta socials at WI Artist Mouse, Broken Thugs Club and Rogue Gallery Project. So that's it. Till next time, thanks for listening.